Hey, everybody. How are you doing? Good afternoon. This is your teacher, Dr. Vanessa. I'm happy to be here with you on a Friday afternoon. Let's get started. Okay. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. And now that I share it, I'm going to be turning off my camera, make sure my technology works well, but I am here with you. Okay. I'm going to start sharing. Give me 1 minute. Okay, everybody, let's get started. Okay. So, if you come in, let me know so that I know that you are here, and I can call you, and you can participate with me. Okay. Now, let me show you where we're at. Yesterday, I left a couple of videos for you. Dejé un par de videos for you, and you had unit 7. Unit 7, Unit 8, and Unit 9, okay? We will continue right now with Unit 10. We're going to be looking at, back, how to use the passive voice, the present, in comparison to the present and past simple, more phrasal verbs. We're going to be looking at Unit 11, which involves the conditional. Yes, and we're going to be looking at Unit 12 that has so, neither, to, either, present perfect, progressive. Okay. I like to review those topics, make sure that you understand them. And I will also let you know what will your homework be. Okay. So let's get started. You know where we're at right now. You can see it in the program. And here is our presentation. Okay. So I might do it like this. I think I'm going to do it this way. That way I can make this a little bit smaller and this a bit bigger. Okay. So technical English unit 10 through E12. Okay. I always like to start with a quote. And this is a nice one. It's called "The best view comes after the hardest climb." Okay. So what does it mean in Spanish? It means la mejor vista viene después de subir. It's kind of implying like the highest climb is como like the highest mountain después de la escalada más alta. Okay. I guess that's how you can say climb is escalar. So, or la escalada más compleja, más difícil. So sometimes, even though it might be a little bit difficult, English might be a little bit difficult for you, it is worth it, okay? If you know English, it just makes a big difference in your work life. I know a lot of professionals that are being hired because they know English, right? It's just a big plus if you know English in your work, okay? So let's continue. And that's why it is so important. If I don't see you here, but I know you are watching me, make sure that you are always practicing, okay? Look at the videos, make sure that you understand, and make sure that you practice, okay, everything that we see. All right, so one of our first topics today, let me put the volume a little bit higher, okay. One of our first topics today is called active voice and passive voice. So what does this mean? What does this mean? It's kind of the same like in Spanish. In Spanish, it would be voz activa y voz pasiva. So there are different ways of writing in the active voice, which is this one, the pink one, the active voice tells us what a person or thing does. The subject performs the action on the verb. Subject es el que hace la acción. The subject performs the action. On the contrary, in the passive voice, it tells us what is done to someone or something. The subject is being acted upon. For example, first you talked about the object, and then the verb, and then the subject. Give me 1 second.
I can hear you, Miss.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Oh, okay. I'll have to go back to those slides that you couldn't hear me. Okay, thank you for letting me know. All right. So this is an example of the passive voice. We're looking at the passive voice and the active voice. And this one says, the bank robbery at First National Bank. I'm going to read it to you, okay? It says 1 million was stolen. Police were called to the First National Bank yesterday. The bank was robbed at 12:15 p.m. $1 million was stolen. No customers were hurt, but one robber was shot by police. Okay? This is an example of the passive voice. Why? Because instead passive voice versus the active voice. The active voice, first we use the subject and then the verb and then the object. Because here, the person or thing, the person or thing does something. So the active voice is like in Spanish. Okay. Let me see who's here. Let me double. Veronica, okay? The active voice is like in Spanish. Veronica, voz activa. So the active voice, la voz activa, is telling us that a person or a thing, what the person or thing is doing. Nos está diciendo que hace una persona una cosa. And the passive voice is the opposite. La voz pasiva es lo opuesto. It tells us what is done to someone or something. Algo que le están haciendo a algo o a alguien. And if you notice from the example I added, like when you look at a newspaper, they use a lot of passive voice. This is a passive voice, okay? For example, here, the bank was robbed at 12:15. Robaron el banco a las 12:15. Who robbed it? ¿Quién lo robó? We don't know. We just know that the bank was robbed, okay? $1 million was stolen. Okay. Who stole the $1 million? We don't know. It's a passive voice. No customers were hurt, but one robber was shot by police. Who shot? Okay, this one we know. The robber was shot by the police, but we don't know which police it was. Okay. Let's look at another example of passive voice. These are examples, pero, of what a passive voice looks like, okay? Are you familiar with the passive voice, Vero? ¿Estás familiarizada con la voz pasiva?
A little, not much, but I try to understand.
You're trying? All right.
Uh-huh.
If you notice, they use it a lot for like news, like to report. Se usa mucho para reportar. Like this is an example. It says, the bank robbers have not been found. Many clues were left at the bank. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I remember a little.
Okay. And it says, no bank customers were hurt. Several customers were interviewed about the robbery. O sea, aquí sabemos como que los hechos, ¿verdad? Sabemos que entrevistaron a varios, pero no sabemos quién los entrevistó. Como que por eso es pasiva, no es el sujeto haciendo la acción, sino algo que fue hecho hacia un sujeto o una cosa. I think it's the same thing like in Spanish, and that's how it is in English. It's the same thing, okay? So it says, let me read this to you. It says, 17 customers were in the bank at the time of the robbery. They followed the instructions of the robbers and dropped to the ground. No customers were hurt in the robbery. One robber was shot by a police officer when he tried to leave the bank. The robber was hit by one bullet, but he escaped with the other robbers. They drove away in a white truck. Some of the customers were interviewed on TV about the robbery. They were happy to be alive after this terrible experience. Vero, from this text, which vocabulary words do you not understand? ¿Cuál vocabulario no te sabe de este texto? Vero.
Drop to the ground. And
Drop to the ground.
And they drove away in a wild truck. I think it's they escape or they going or something. And
¿Cuál oración? Which sentence? The 1, 2, 3, 4. ¿Cuál oración? Which one?
Three sentences and 5, I think so.
Okay.
The 5, 3 and 5, I think so.
1, 2, 3. This one, the drop to the ground, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The sentence.
Drop es dejar caer. So drop to the ground es se dejaron caer al piso. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
The instructions of the robbers son rateros. So the instructions, which are instrucciones, were to drop to the ground. Le dijeron, tírense al suelo. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Ese es el vocabulario que no entendía.
Okay. No, don't worry. Just ask me. I will help you. Okay. What about the other sentences, Vero?
The robber was hit by one bullet. I don't know, it's one bullet.
All right.
It's the 1, 2,
Yes.
3. I think 3.
Okay. Bullet is
Uh-huh.
bala. So the robber was hit. Cuando dices le dieron con una bala. Hit. Was hit by one bullet.
Okay.
Any other words?
No, creo que más o menos entiendo el resto.
All right. All right. Okay. Stop me, okay, for anything. All right. So it says, when the robber was shot, I screamed. Okay. Y aquí ya escuchamos, o sea, aquí hay un active voice, voz activa, porque ella grita. Y aquí hay muchas oraciones donde no sabemos quién hace las cosas, right?
Ajá.
And that's the passive voice. So let's continue with a little bit more about the bank. Okay, it says, clues are being investigated. Fingerprints were found at the bank. Many clues were left at the bank. The most important clues are fingerprints of the robbers. The fingerprints were found on the desk, on the doors, and on the guns. 2 guns were left at the bank as the robbers escaped in a car. One robber was shot, and the blood he left on the floor is another important clue. The fingerprints and the blood are being studied by police investigators. Okay. Vero, words that you did not understand?
I don't know what is clues. Many clues were left at the bank. I don't know clues.
Clue, pista.
Ajá.
Clues,
Sorry?
pista.
Okay.
Muchas pistas fueron dejadas en el banco.
Okay. Ahora entiendo el resto. Ajá.
That's why at first it's clues are being investigated. Las pistas están siendo investigadas.
Ajá. Okay.
¿Sí? And you notice the top, lo de arriba, passive voice. Las pistas están siendo investigadas. No sabemos quién las investiga, sabemos que están siendo investigadas. Voz activa, voz pasiva. In English and Spanish, yeah. Any other words, Pero?
No, it's only this one.
Okay. And then we continue with the story. It says, the robbers were caught on video. The robbery was filmed by security cameras. The robbers were filmed by the bank's cameras, but they have not been identified yet. The video is being analyzed by the police. Call the police if you have any information. Okay. Vero, any word here that you don't understand?
No, I understand all the
All?
text.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Okay, so this is like an investigation. Passive voice is used when the subject is unknown or not important. Like the bank was robbed, many clues were found. Ejemplos de una voz pasiva, okay? And so we don't know who did it, and it's not important who found the clues. The focus is on the object, okay? We make passive voice by moving the object to the beginning of the sentence and deleting the subject, okay? Si queremos cambiar una oración activa a pasiva, movemos el objeto como the bank to the front, and then quitamos el sujeto the robbers y nada más indicamos the bank was robbed. Okay? Aquí dice the robbers robbed the bank. Los rateros robaron el banco. But if we eliminate robbers, it would be the bank was robbed. El banco fue robado. Changing the verb and add a form of be in front of it and use the past participle. Okay? Aquí le agregamos el verb to be, pero en el tiempo pasado. Y este es el pasado participio. Here's another one. Someone found fingerprints. How do you make it passive? Fingerprints were found, and we eliminate the object. Okay? The verb, the be verb or the verb to be should be the verb to be should be in the sentence you want be in the tense you want the sentence to be in. In these examples, be is in the past simple. So the sentences are passive voice, past simple. The passive voice can have any type of verb tense. El pasado, la voz pasiva se puede usar en cualquier tiempo, pero in any verb tense, okay? I'll show you a couple of examples right now. Now we read the newspaper again and find the passive voice sentences. Okay. Find the passive voice sentences. Look, here are a couple of sentences that are in the passive voice, like police were called, the bank was robbed, $1 million was stolen, no customers were hurt, robber was shot. Okay. Have not been found, también está en pasado, passive voice. Nada más que el passive voice puede ser usado en cualquier tiempo, no nada más en el pasado. Pero the bank robbers have not been found. Many clues were left at the bank. Here's another, more examples. No customers were hurt. One robber was shot. The robber was hit. Customers were interviewed. And this one, when the robber was shot, I screamed. More examples. Many clues were left. The fingerprints were found. 2 guns were left. The robber was shot. The fingerprints and the blood are being studied. Here, more examples. So the robbers were filmed, have not been identified, is being analyzed. Okay. How do we make a passive voice? And it kind of repeats it again. Okay. What are the past simple verbs of the form to be? I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, they were. So okay. So now the exercise, Vero, do you think you can change these into the passive voice?
Okay.
Okay.
The bank was robbed yesterday.
Perfect. The next one.
1
million.
1 million were stolen from the bank. No customers were no customer was hurt in the robbery. Were hurt in the robbery.
Yeah. Next one.
1 robber was shot by a police officer.
Shot.
Many clues were found at the bank.
Wow, you're really good, Vero.
The robbery was filmed by security cameras.
Excellent. Excellent. I am like, if I gave you an exam, you would get you're gonna get 110. Okay, Vero. Do you wanna try a few more? Okay.
Okay.
Right. Continue.
2 guns were left at the bank.
Yeah.
Fingerprints fingerprints were found on the doors.
Yeah.
The customers were interviewed on TV.
Excellent.
The white truck was seen leaving the robbery.
Yes.
The police was called to the scene of the crime.
Yes.
The robbers were caught on camera.
Yes. This is irregular verb. It becomes caught.
Caught.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Let me see the answers. Yeah. The robbers were, look, this is how you spell it. Caught.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, here's more links for practice. This is a great one. I really liked it. And I added it in the presentation. Okay. Give me 1 minute, Vero.
Sorry, teacher.
I'm here. I'm here. I was just interrupted a little bit. Okay. So this is more about active and passive voice, but I think you got it really good. The only thing I would add here, Vero, the only thing I would add just to make sure it was clear to everybody is that you can use the passive voice in any tense. You could use it for the present simple, present continuous, past simple, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, future simple, any tense you can use it, okay? Like an example in the present continuous would be, I'm doing my homework. My homework is being done. In the present simple, I do my homework. My homework is done. You know, past simple, I did my homework. My homework was done. This is what we just practiced right now, okay? And this one, past continuous. I was doing my homework. My homework was being done. So if you notice, you can use it like in any tense. Just follow the rules for the tense. But the rule here is, la regla aquí is that this one, you put the subject in the front. My homework goes to the front. And then, you know, you use the, like for in the past continuous, you put was and done. So you put the verb tense here and you eliminate the subject. You eliminate I across the board. Okay. Hi, I see somebody else has joined. Hi, Guillermo. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, teacher.
Excellent. So we were just doing a couple of exercises. Maybe I'm going to open them up and I'll have Guillermo practice a little bit. Guillermo, how do you feel with the passive tense? Is it easy for you, the passive voice?
Uh, mm, Especially passive voice has always been something a little bit difficult for me, but I understand the rules, but I barely use it.
Mhm. Okay. So let's try a couple of exercises. You know what? Maybe here, like you said, you understand the rules, but when you don't practice it, you need to practice it a little bit more, right? Okay. So I got a couple of exercises. Let's look at the exercises. Don't pay too much attention to the pictures. They might look a little bit like cartoons, but I thought it was a couple of good sentences, okay?
Okay.
So what we're supposed to do here is we're supposed to rewrite each sentence. I'm reading the instructions here. Rewrite each sentence using the passive voice for simple present tense. So this is like people introduce cars in this factory. And I'll show you one of the examples, okay? So it says people introduce cars in this factory. So we've got the subject and then we've got the verb and then we've got like the object, right?
Yeah.
So if we were to change it, it would be cars are produced in this factory. Okay, so we use
Okay.
the verb to be and then we use the past participle. Okay, so
Okay.
want to try the second one, the farmer one, number two, this one. The
Yeah.
farmer.
The carrots grows in this field, in his field. The carrots grows on his field.
Almost. Let's see. Carrots are grown is in his field. Yes, almost. I think you did say it. Carrots are grown in his field. Let's try number 3. Number 3. This one. It's
The
Miss
cow,
Laura.
yeah, the cow is milked by Miss Lawrence twice a day.
Almost. You say, or you could say the cow is milked twice a day. Because we removed the subject.
Okay.
Usamos el sujeto. Nada más sabemos que le sacan leche, she's milked, but we don't know who does it. That's part of like the passive voice, right? It's like,
Okay.
okay, number 4, which is this one. Can you change it, please?
Uh, Play golf. The golf are play every Sunday morning.
Pretty close. Golf is
Is
played every Sunday
okay.
morning.
I
Just remove
failed
the.
the verb to be.
No, you said golf, but you
Are
said the
played.
golf.
You,
Yeah, you
I
did say.
mistake in the verb to be.
Let's look at number 5.
A lot of nature photos
Mhm,
is taken at weekends.
mhm.
Is
A
taken.
lot of nature
Uh,
photos are taken. Exactly. And you know why? You caught yourself because it's plural, right? Because are taken at weekend. I think you're good. I think it's just a matter of practice, right? But I think you get the idea. And we'll do one more, okay? We gave Beto a lot of times to practice, so we'll do one more for you.
yeah.
And let's do number 6 for you. Number 6.
Uh, they loves and respects Diana. No, 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 no. Hay que cambiar ahí. Entonces sería Diana el que quedaría en el inicio.
Yes.
Diana is loved and respected by his class.
But yeah, Diana is loved and respected in this class. And here they just make it super brief. They just say Diana is loved and respected. But you could also say it in this class. It's fine. Let me see.
Okay,
Can
at the end I could added the by his class.
Diana is loved and respected, not by his class, because his is a his is for masculine. His is like a he.
Her class. Okay.
By her class. You could also say Diana is loved and respected by her class, or Diana is loved and respected in this class too. En esta clase o por su clase. Both of them would be correct. Okay, remember you could say it in different ways. It all depends on what you want to say. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Maybe I should keep this one for an exercise. I'll see because I already think I give you enough homework every week. Right. Let me open it up. So that's part of our first topics. It's going over the active and the passive voice. And we do use the passive voice a lot. Lo usamos mucho. Like for example, I just showed you in the newspaper, when we want to report something, we use the passive voice. It's very frequent, okay? And it is important to know, okay? Something else that we use is the present perfect tense and the simple past. Well, the simple past tense, we use all of the tenses, but we're going to be talking about the present perfect tense, okay? So let me make it bigger, make sure that you can see this. And I like to compare. Sometimes when I compare one with another, and it makes the differences like very evident and makes it easier to understand. Now, let me ask you something, Guillermo and Vero. No, I don't see Vero anymore. Let me ask you something, Guillermo. Um, do you understand me when I'm talking? Is it
Yeah.
easy to understand me? Okay, because I want to make sure that you can understand me. I even speak a little bit slower, but I still, speak, try to speak as I need to speak, okay? But stop me or interrupt me if you do not understand anything, okay?
Okay.
So, the present perfect tense. Um, when do we use it? It's used, I'm here. It's used to express unfinished events that started in the past and continue to the present. It's used to express finished events. That's the difference with the simple past. Simple past, we just say events that are already, finished. And then the present perfect, it could be, we can use it when we are talking about unfinished events that started in the past and continue to the present. Example, I have lived in Paris for 5 years, but it still means like I'm still living in Paris. Guillermo, where do you live?
Piedras Negras.
Okay. Have you lived in Piedras Negras for a long time?
Yeah, I have lived in Piedras Negras for 3 years.
For 3 years? Where did you used to live before?
Saltillo.
Saltillo. Are you from Saltillo?
No, I was born in Musquis, but I grew up in Monterrey.
Wow, you have traveled, Guillermo. Musquis, Monterrey, Saltillo, and Piedras Negras. I just counted and it's 4 places.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Only 4 places, or have you traveled more?
I've been travel more, but
Really?
usually this is this the towns I mentioned it is the location where I have family,
Okay. So it's
and
like where your
I was live in every town I mentioned.
so there are places where you have lived, right?
Yeah.
And the other places are places that you just visit for a little bit?
Uh, yeah, a little bit. Monclova, Gómez Palacio, Torreón.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, okay, you visited Torreon?
yeah, I go to I am studying in Gómez Palacio too. Another career.
Okay, you must be super busy, Guillermo. You must
Uh,
be super busy because you are studying a lot. What are you studying?
en Gómez Palacio, en la
Yeah.
Escuela Normal Superior.
Are you studying? Do you want to become a teacher?
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to the teaching field. Welcome to the education field. I'm an educator. I
Okay.
love teaching.
Yeah, I hear you in the past class.
Okay. Oh, awesome. We're gonna get a new teacher. But wait, this is accounting, right?
Yeah.
Accounting career.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
But
do both?
also I am studying to become a English teacher.
Very good. Okay. So is this gonna be like your third career? Do you have a first career?
Yeah, management.
What what's your first career?
Management.
Management? Like administration, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you are well prepared. Well prepared, Guillermo. Administration, accounting, and an English teacher. They're gonna want you everywhere, Guillermo. You're gonna be very seeked. Seeked. It could be like cotizado, right? You're gonna be very seeked all over. Okay,
Well,
that sounds.
this
Uh-huh.
that's something I want to be to improve my personal and professional development for the for in a future, I want to be prepared for give the better attention to my students.
Definitely. I can imagine you right now. I'm going a little bit off topic, but I think it's okay because we're practicing our English and it's very related to present perfect tense because we're using it. I think like I can see you in the future. If you know administration and accounting and English, you can even teach subjects like administration and accounting in English. I see you even at the university. I
Yeah,
see you at all
I
levels.
could in the future. I could try to teach in La Feca here in Piedras Negras.
Exactly. You would be wonderful because you could teach a lot of subjects in Spanish or in English. But you know what? The English one, they're all important. All subjects are important, but I do notice that they want more English classes because they think learning the language, the English language, and learning subjects in English like accounting or administration, that they think that's the future right now,
Yeah,
you know?
and it's become even more important here in border.
Definitely. Oh my God, you know what? Now that I think about it, you're very close to the border. And if you're that close to the border, I wouldn't be surprised if they hired you in the United States. I know they hire people, they pull people over to the other side. You could get some sort of work permit if that is what you want, right? I don't know if you want to work in another place outside of Mexico. Are you interested in working in a place outside of Mexico?
Uh, it will be interesting get
Yeah,
out from the country.
and maybe even you never know. You
Yeah,
right now we are so globalized, we are so connected. You can work almost anywhere, right across the world. You can look for jobs everywhere across the world. And English, well, it does open up a lot of doors because English is what is mostly spoken. No, not speaken, spoken. Spoken in the world.
all
Yeah.
around the world. Yeah, it's the most spoken language.
Spanish too. Spanish is really good. If you know
Yeah,
English and Spanish, that's a plus. You know what's a new language that is very popular right now? Chinese, but that's a hard one.
yeah,
That
it's
could be
very
your
hard.
next goal. That could be your next goal. So see, you could talk about unfinished events that started in the past and continue to the present, like you have been living in what was it in oh my God, in Piedras Negras? No, no, it
Yeah,
wasn't Piedras Negras.
same.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Piedras Negras. Okay, well, it was a lot of places. It was hard to keep up.
Yeah. Another
In
example
Piedras
is like I have studied English for 2 years.
for 3 years? Only 3 years?
No, it's a sample.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good. Now, you can also use it to express finished events in someone's life. Like if the person is still alive, like he has never traveled by plane, but he's still alive. Okay, so
Yeah.
that means he can still do it. It is also used to express finished events that happened in the past, and the impact of the event is now continuing. Like, we can't reach Paul by phone. Have you seen him? Okay. Or it's used to with unfinished time words like this week, today, this year, like I have eaten lots of plumps today. Okay. I'm not sure what plump is. Plump is it's British, so maybe it's some sort of sweet. I'm not sure what a plump in Britain is. I'm thinking it's like some sort of sweet. Maybe it's like a cookie or something. Oh, plump are berries.
Okay, berries.
Yeah, they're berries. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. So that these are examples, okay? And here are a couple more examples of the past simple and the present simple. And of course, more examples, but I want you to take a look at this one. You probably already know it because you have used it, but I just want to make sure that you like have it right here. So basically, um, how is it, how is the structure? How does it look like? Well, you have the subject here, and you use the auxiliary to have, which is half and half, and then you use the past participle. That's why I asked you, like, how long have you lived in Piedras Negras? Okay, so you use the auxiliary to have, and you use the past participle. This is for affirmative. For negative, you add the not after the verb, and if you contract, you make it short. You have the have-it and the has-it. Okay, and if you have a question, you could move the have or the has, or like for example, me that I wanted to know like how long. I have the how long first. Okay, the other WH question. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Questions about this?
No, teacher.
I know you know it well,
Oh,
but let's just do a
teacher,
couple.
I
Yes.
I I don't know if my classmate already questioned about the PowerPoint presentation that you present in the classes. Uh, you share with us that presentation because they aren't in the Moodle page.
Okay. No, and I'm glad you say that. That's my fault. Okay. I need to upload them. I always say I'm going to share them and I don't, right? So upload in Moodle, right? So you have them with you.
Yeah, for practice.
Of course. And you know why? I add links too. I add links for you to practice.
Yeah,
And
I
so you
looking for
need
it.
them. Hmm? You love my what?
Yeah,
What did you say?
I didn't until
Uh-huh.
the day before yesterday. I have no idea what Flipgrid are
Oh, really?
was what Flipgrid,
What? Okay.
and it's very useful. That
Yeah.
that app is very useful. It's very kind for the
Uh-huh.
novices.
Yeah. It kind, or you can also say friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very friendly because when you say friendly, it means that it's easy to use.
Okay. It's very friendly. And it was very easy.
Yeah. And you don't even have to worry about how much does it weigh? Will it go through Moodle? Will it go through WhatsApp? Will it go through email? Nothing. You just record, done. That's it. Right? It's very nice. And I'll tell you something. It's very popular right now. Flipgrid is very popular. They're not using it too much in Mexico, but they're using it in the United States right now. So
Okay.
whatever I find over there, I pull and I'm showing you. Okay. I know that sometimes it can be scary. Like, I know, I don't want to do that. Why? I just
Only,
want to. But
only at the
it's nice.
first.
Yeah.
We're scared only at the first because when I opened the app, it was very easy to work with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a great resource. When you become a teacher, Guillermo, you can use it with your students. And for an educator, it's awesome because you can do a lot of topics there. You have like your class, and then you have a whole bunch of like different topics for them to talk or to do stuff. Yeah. And you know why it's very popular right now? Because with COVID,
Hmm.
Guillermo, everybody went home all over the world. So it was hard because you could not see anybody, right? It was like all virtual. Not everybody had Zoom classes. So this was one way of seeing your classmates.
Yeah.
And this is something that I didn't add, but you can respond to your classmates. Like I could see your video, Guillermo, and then make a video of my own and say, "Hi, Guillermo, I saw your video. I really liked it." And so you make these connections, these virtual connections, which you may think they're very difficult because we were home and distancing ourselves, we couldn't see each other, but this was one way of connecting.
Yeah.
So a lot of students really liked it. Guillermo, before we go on to the next topic, one thing I want to do with you is I want you to practice a couple of questions, okay? Well,
Okay.
not a couple of questions. These are exercises to use the present perfect, okay? Which is this
Okay.
one, where you use the have and when you use a past participle, okay? So, you want to try the first one? Let's make a question in past, in the present perfect.
Okay.
All
You
right.
have the you have
Yeah.
you have eaten lunch yet?
Okay. Almost. But for that one, you would need to add the have for in the front.
Have you?
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Have you eaten? Because it's in the past participle is EATEN. Have you eaten lunch yet? Okay. Oh, where are my answers? Make it a little bit smaller. I'm losing my answers. Okay, I lost my answers. I don't know where I put my answers, but I can answer.
Yeah.
The good thing is I'm your teacher. I know the answers. All right. Okay, number two. Number two.
Has he read the newspaper today?
Yeah. And so in the past participle, it's spelled like that, but you say it differently. You say it read. Has he read the newspaper today?
Okay.
Okay.
And instead they
And
read.
yes.
Okay.
Read and read is the same in present, past, and past participle, but you say it differently. In present, you say I read. Well, he read. Well, yeah, I read. In the past, you say I read, and the past participle I read. It's
Okay.
like red de color, kind of like the red
Yeah.
color. Yeah. All right. So that's why you say has he read the newspaper today? All right. Number three.
Uh, have not you studied French for 10 years? For 10 years.
Almost. Yeah.
Uh,
Almost. Ah,
That
yeah.
that is the converted and the exercise the number three I will convert in a question too or some
Yes.
or only
No, you're right.
deny the
You're totally right. It's not a question. It's a
is
sentence.
you only deny the sentences is you have not studied French for 10 years.
Yes,
Okay.
we have not studied French for 10 years. Okay. And number four,
They have been in London for 6 months.
yes, perfect. Number five,
Where you have been?
mhm, where have you been?
Ah, okay.
And number six,
We have not going to Paris.
yeah, we have not gone to Paris. Very good. Okay. I'm glad you're here because I know how you're doing and you're doing good. Okay. Mostly you're
Okay.
doing good. I always keep the phrasal verbs. I don't know, we have to go over phrasal verbs a lot, but and I can understand why because there's a lot of phrasal verbs. And if you saw my other videos, basically, when you put these verbs with something else, it just creates like a new word. It's something different. So it's like new words you're studying, but they're not new words. They're called phrasal verbs, right? Verbos compuestos. When you look at the like program, it's called verbos compuestos. But
Yeah.
there's a lot, and we use them a lot, so much that that's why I keep going back to them. Where's my video? Okay. I might
Okay.
jump it if you're here and we can use the time to practice other stuff. Because I always, when I'm here with you guys, I always go through the phrasal verbs. We were looking at the 100 most popular phrasal verbs. Okay. I
Okay.
might go back in a little bit.
Cuando estudiaba,
Okay, well, and we can continue with the other topics. Because I don't usually have students, so I'm solo here.
Yeah. Uh, this is the first time I could get on time to see you.
Glad you're here. It doesn't matter if you only came right now. I mean, it's fine. So, all right. This is coordinating conjunctions, okay? So these are like connecting, like the sentences, and they have like different meanings, okay? Like for example, I go to the library for I love to read. It's kind of saying like I go to the library because I love to read, right? Anna likes to read and then and write. So it's and like E, right? The virus cannot live in immunized individuals, nor in nature. Okay, ni tampoco. This is like no, ni tampoco. She objected at first, but pero finally submitted. You're going to have a little brother or sister. It's like, oh, vas a tener esto, oh. Okay, the weather was cold, yet bright and sunny. El clima estuvo frío, pero it's kind of like a pero, but it's not like the other but it's kind of like a pero, and it's saying that even though it was cold, it was also bright and sunny. Okay, both at the same time. And then the so, like, I know you must be tired, so I will let you rest. Like, because you are tired, I will let you rest. Okay. So these are coordinating conjunctions. That's what they're called. And we can use them for sentences to connect sentences. Have you seen these before, Guillermo?
Yes.
Okay.
Only nor I wasn't see it
No,
before.
but the rest you had, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't like I could say I don't like apple nor oranges. Ni manzanas ni naranjas. Yeah, you could use that, okay?
Sería así como que tampoco, ¿verdad?
Yeah, it would be kind of like a tampoco. Okay. Yeah. And then conjunctive adverbs. So these you could use in sentences, and I have a couple of them. You can use them to clarify, to compare and contrast, to continue, or as a consequence. And we have these type of words in Spanish too. Like when you want to say clarify, you're writing. Present perfect is used for an event that is started in the past and continues in the present, right? For example, por ejemplo, as an example, como ejemplo, naturally, naturalmente, understandably, entendible, de manera entendible, right? I'm not sure how you would say it in Spanish. I guess you could say de manera entendible. I think that. Predictably, de manera predecible. In fact, de hecho, for instance, it would be more like for example. Yeah, for instance, we could do this. Por ejemplo, podríamos hacer esto. So these are like things that you can add in your sentences to clarify, para clarificar, or you can also use the next ones to compare and contrast. Like for example, alternatively, alternativamente, likewise is like similar. Similarly is like similar también. However, sin embargo, conversely, de manera opuesta, right? Instead, en lugar de esto, like however, like repeated, and nevertheless, it's like sin embargo. So these are a couple of things that you can use when you're writing, um, and you want to make sure that you want to use this because you want to make a point, right? You want to make the point like English is important. However, you also need to know Spanish well, right? Something like that. If that's how you want to express the ideas. Or if you want to continue, like you're writing sentence and then you want to say, then, luego, so, así que, still, todavía, next, después, right? Like maybe you want to talk about a recipe. So first you um put the eggs in a bowl, ¿verdad? And then you crack the eggs and mix them with flour. Do this very, you have to do this movement so that you can, no, that sounds more like a coordinating conjunction. So this was done because of, so you could use this in the sentences, especially at the beginning. And these last ones are like consequences, like accordingly, like it's also like de acuerdo, and I don't know if it was over here, like nonetheless, sin embargo, consequently, a consecuencia, thus, como, what would be thus? Like por esto, it would be kind of like por esto. Therefore, por eso, thereafter, it's kind of like por esto too. So they're very similar, and these are conjunctive adverbs that you can use, especially like at the beginning of sentences. Okay, these are like more for your writing, especially if you're writing like a story or you're writing a report. Guillermo, do you have to write any report in your work?
Yeah.
You do? In English?
No, in Spanish. But in the last time we have English class, uh, we do a little bit of reporter speech.
Okay. With who? Was that with me?
No, and uh, the last class of English before you.
Ah, okay. So, but reported speech is a little bit different because reported speech is you're saying what the other person said.
Yeah, but the teacher introduces before to do the reported speech. Before to do that, he uh, mm, I can't remember exactly, but he explains before they use reported speech. He explains us the what reported was, and then reported speech.
Okay. All right. And you use these type of words for the reported speech?
The consequence ones, no, but the
No?
other three, yes.
Okay. You could probably maybe you could add it, depends on how he wanted the reported speech. But did he say that reported speech is like saying what somebody else said? Like say report what, I don't know, what, like what Guillermo told me, what anybody else said, like that's reported speech, report on something somebody said or expressed.
Yeah, I couldn't follow the last thing you say to us, teacher.
Did he say that reported speech is when you report what somebody else said? You report what somebody else said. The
Yeah, and
report.
you asking to us because by personal report
Yeah.
that we have to do to somebody else, right?
Yeah. It's like, for example, you tell me we did a reported speech, and if they ask me, well, what did Guillermo do? Well,
Okay.
Guillermo did a
Yeah.
reported speech. So I'm basically reporting, Guillermo said he did a reported speech. So I'm kind of reporting what you just said, right?
Okay.
So reported speech. Okay. But we won't go into that much right now because I mean, I know you already did it. So that was what you did in the last class, reported speech? Okay.
Uh, uh,
Yes, right? Okay. All
there,
right.
that topic is one of the that we saw in that class. Not only that, obviously.
All right. You saw more. And that's one of the last topics because I'm thinking of the program. I have seen that program. And I think that is one of the last topics. Um, it, it's preparing you for a B1 and then you got to know reported speech. So it's good. And if you already use these conjunctive adverbs, that's good too, because you got to practice with them, right? So I'm
Yeah.
glad because now I know what you do know and what you don't know. Okay. Let me see if this is good. Okay. This is for both. I think it's more for coordinating conjunctions. Can you see it? Is it clear or is it too blurry?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Do you like playing outdoor or prefer watching TV inside?
Yeah, and you used it perfectly. It's like one or the other, right? Or, okay, what about the next one? It's Jim neither exercises blank does
But
he about what he eats.
Jim neither exercise, but does he care about the what he eats?
This one would be like the nor example. Would be mm, 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 the Jim neither exercise nor does he care about what he eats. It could be Jim neither exercises. No, es como que ni una ni el otra. The other way would be Jim does not exercise, but does care about what he eats. But when they put neither, it's Jim neither exercises nor does he care about what he eats. It's like the combination siempre, como que ni hace esto ni hace lo otro.
Yeah, it's like a don't do that, but also don't do that.
Can you do number 3, please?
I called Vivian many times,
Mhm.
but she didn't answer.
Perfect, yeah. Number 4.
I
That's
was
the big one.
stuck in a traffic jam and I was late for my appointment.
Yeah, and I would use it both ways. I've heard it both ways. Like I could say I was stuck in the traffic jam and I was late for my appointment. But you could also use like I was stuck in a traffic jam, so así que I was late for my appointment. Both could be correct. Okay, number 5.
What is it that when that we will use when we queremos decir when we will want to tell because
So, oh, okay,
okay.
this one.
Ruth came back.
Okay, okay. Let me move this.
Ruth came back home early, so she
Okay.
wasn't feeling very well.
Sorry, I didn't understand you there. I think for she wasn't feeling very well, right? For she wasn't feeling very well. It was kind of like because Ruth came back home early for she wasn't feeling very well. Looks like because she wasn't feeling very well.
So in the sentences we will use for.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you didn't use that one, of course, because would be good, right? You could say Ruth came back home early because she wasn't feeling very well. All right. Number 6.
The baby was tired, so he took a short nap.
Perfect. Number 7.
Marcela gave her 100%. Woo, what? The judge.
Yeah. And wowed. Wowed.
It's
Oh, that's,
like a
you know,
surprise at the judge.
yeah. So when you
Okay.
say something like, "Oh wow, get fired," or like, "Oh wow, that's amazing," look, they made it a verb. Wow, they added the ed, it became a verb. Hundred
Marcela
percent.
gave her 100% and wow, the judge.
The judge. Yeah. Number 8.
I can read.
Okay. It says the test sure was tough, comma blank. I still scored a perfect 100.
What would you in this number 8? What you say the
I would say the test was
meaning of?
tough, but I still scored a perfect 100, or yet I still scored a perfect 100. Sin embargo, obtuve un 100. Yeah, because when they say sure was tough, they say, o sea, sí que estuvo difícil. But she got 100. So I would use yet. And you could also use but. The test was tough, but I still scored a perfect 100, or yet I still scored a perfect 100. It could be either or. And then the other one is the name. It's hard to read. It's
Yeah.
Chloe has a lot of friends. Blank. She is a charming girl.
What do
I
you
would
say? The meaning of nor?
It's like ni esto, ni el otro.
Okay.
But here she
Low
does have a
has a
lot of
lot. No,
friends.
here's isn't the
Mhm,
right or the correct answer. Chloe has a lot of friends.
mhm. Or she is a charming girl.
Yeah, for it's like a because
Because,
right.
yeah, because she's a charming girl. No wonder. And the
Mm-hmm.
last one is says, I feel so
As full
full.
after my lunch.
Mhm. I feel so full after my lunch. Blank. I am still craving a hot fudge. I would say, but.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think.
so full after my lunch, but I'm still craving. I think that happens to us a lot, right? We eat a lot, but if they offer us something good, we'll make a little space, right? You might have a good lunch, a good dinner, but if they offer you, I don't know, do you have a favorite dessert, Guillermo?
I don't like a lot the sweet things.
You
I'm
don't like
I
a
I
lot of sweet.
I like more the something like salad.
Yeah, like salty or sour, right? No, not sour. It's not sour, like salty, right?
Yeah.
Salidito.
I don't know why, but I do eat the desserts. I prefer especially uh, um, Aleman cake or
You have good
carrots
taste.
cake.
Hmm. You have good taste. Carrot cake is really good. Lemon cake is pretty good too. They're both good. I have a sweet tooth. That's an expression. Un diente dulce. That's how you say it in English. That means I really, really like sweets. But I don't always eat them, right? Because it's too much sugar.
Yes,
It's not good
it's
for you. So you're lucky
a
that you
lot of
don't like
sugar.
a lot of sugar, a lot of calories. So it's
Yeah.
like once in a while. Hmm. All right. Well, okay. I thought you're doing good. Another of our topics is the conditional sentences. How do you feel with the conditional sentences, Guillermo?
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
They're all right?
I
Okay.
feel good. Yeah.
You feel good? All right. They're not that hard. The only thing is you have to like know the difference because there are four. There's the conditional type one, two, three, and zero, right? And if it's not clear to you, that might be confusing. But they're
Yeah.
not.
First conditional, second conditional, third conditional. It's a little bit confusing to me, but it's like you just said, it's know the rules.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take a look at each one. Like I have a table with all of them. So immediately you can see like all of them, right? Like, and then you can see the differences and then we can go one by one. So I like this table. Usually I hope this information helps you. I find it in the internet. Some I do type and some I do find, but I try to find information that I think might be like useful, like practical because that's what I try to do when, even though I know it, I always, not always, but sometimes I have to check because I become a little obsessive with that because I want to make sure I write it correctly, I do it correctly, right? So whenever I don't know something or I need to double check, I pull out, we have San Google
Yeah.
and we have so many resources and nowadays that it makes our life much easier than before.
There even exists something like an expression like San Google in English.
Um, no, we don't say San Google. We just say it in Mexico.
Google it,
But
right?
yeah, Google it.
I I
Yeah.
I I had been heard my cousins say that Google it.
Yeah. Or you also they ask Siri, you know? So you ask Siri, and I forgot the other person that you ask, you just get your cell phone and then you say, Siri, how is this song called? And then Siri answers you.
Yeah,
But Siri, in my opinion, makes a lot of mistakes. She's
yeah. I
not
used to
good.
play with Siri when my aunt have an iPhone, and now in the Androids or in there were still there are available now the Google Voice. I have activated in something, and sometimes when I talking or chatting with somebody here, and I turn to see my phone is activated the Google Assistant voice, and wow, uh, and it's searching for something I'll say. It's searching for results in Google.
Now, something that we do at home, and I recommend it in case you're interested. in case you want to hear different accents, like you say, okay, I want to hear the American accent, or I want to hear a British accent, or I want to hear a Canadian accent, or an Australian accent, you could, like, especially in Google Maps, you could set the accent and then you hear it, and then you could practice like hearing, even in Spanish, you can hear like like the regular one or the Spanish, right? The one from Spain.
Yeah.
You have a lot of fun just listening to them and imitating them on how it is being said. All right. So saying that, let's start with the conditional. So I'll go over each one so that you can remember the differences. So the first conditional, it's I'll first I'll give the general one and then I'll go one by one. And the first conditional, it says it's for a possible condition and a probable result. Okay. I'll even go here. A real possibility. So we're talking about the future. We're thinking about a particular condition or situation in the future and the result of this condition. There is a real possibility that this condition will happen. For example, it is morning, you're at home, you plan to play tennis this afternoon, but there are some doubts in the sky. Imagine that it rains. What will you do? So it's something that it could happen. I added this one. It might seem unreal to some people, but it's like if I win the lottery, I will buy a car. Like if I could actually win it, right? Sometimes lotteries can be very hard to win, but it's like a real possibility. Like, oh, if I do this, I can do that. The next one, the number 2, it's more like a hypothetical condition plus a possible result. And then here you use the past simple and the would plus the base verb. Okay, so let me go to the second one. And the second one, I also added the first one because it could be like a real possibility. Maybe if I bought here in Torreon, they sell the caritas,
Mhm.
the houses, and that's more like real possibility. Although I don't know anymore. I think they sell too many tickets. And you know how when they sell too many, it just becomes less probability that you can get it, right? But like there's the lottery. When I travel sometimes and I like to go to Texas. And then when I go to Texas, I buy the Texas Lotto. And then there's like wonderful prices like $1 billion. And I'm like, oh, if I won that $1 billion, but I know it's gonna be so hard because everybody's buying them from Texas, even people like me who do not live in Texas. So it's not real. Not really. It could happen because I know people, it actually happens, but it's not too real. So this is an example, like in the past tense simple and then with the would, right? If I won the lottery, I would buy a car. Okay.
Yeah, I also often go to Eagle Pass. It's bordered here with Piedras Negras, and like 2 or 3 times I have bought the Texas Lottery too.
I know, and then I come in and I put it in my bag and I'm hoping I win it, but nothing. And then the third conditional is an expired past condition plus a possible past result. So use the past perfect and would have. And this I feel it's more like el hubiera in Spanish. Like, oh, if I would have done this. And in Spanish, I know they teach us like, oh, ya no piensas en el hubiera. Lo que pasó, pasó. But here they do. They do. It's like the first conditional and the second conditional, they talk about the future. With the third conditional, we talk about the past. We talk about a condition in the past that did not happen. That is why there's no possibility for this condition. The third conditional is also like a dream, but with no possibility of the dream coming true. Like if I had won the lottery, I would have bought a car, but it already happened in the past and I can't change the past, but still I think about it. And then the last one is, this is a real condition and an inevitable result. So you use present simple and present simple. And so we use the so-called zero conditional when the result of the condition is like always true, kind of like a scientific fact. For example, if you take some ice, put it in a saucepan, heat the saucepan, what happens? Well, the ice melts. It becomes water. You would be surprised if it did not. So here it's like if you heat ice, it melts. It's like almost like a fact, right? Like if you put ice in your drink, it's cold. It
It
becomes
become
cold, right?
colder, right?
So this is like a true, like a fact. So here's a little time, another table of like visualizing it in percentages, like 0, 100% true, always, right? And then the first, I guess you could say it's like a 50%. There's a probability. The second is like less of a probability. Let's give it a 10%. And first and second are talking about the future. And the third is talking about the past and 0% because it happened in the past and I can't change the past. Okay.
Yeah, the third conditional is like when they already public the results and I didn't want, right?
Yeah, like I said, oh, if I had studied more, I would have passed. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. But I didn't study and I didn't pass, right?
But it's
But
already passed.
exactly. And here are the examples. Like if you heat ice, it melts. If I win the lottery, I will buy a car, right? And there's a lot of chance of winning the lottery. And the second one is if I won the lottery, I would buy a car. There's less of a probability here. Even though we're talking about lottery, we might be talking about different types of lottery. We might be talking the first one of a lottery with a little, not so many people, right? Not so much money. And the second one, like a big lottery, like the Texas one, that it's, I don't know, before they would say 1 in a million, maybe it's like 1 in a billion now to win it. I think it's very hard to win it, right?
I don't know. See,
And
I don't know if the prime is like getting bigger when nobody won. Yeah, because I had here that I didn't remember exactly, but it's come like 15 or 13 billions dollars last week, and nobody wants. And so I think they're increased like every week that eh, if nobody won the prize.
yeah, that's how it works. Sometimes people don't win the prize, so it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until somebody wins it. It
Okay.
just grows. And then once somebody wins it, it begins like again. Oh,
Okay.
it grows and grows and grows. So when it becomes bigger, they have it like on board. Like I'm in the freeway and like, oh, look, 1 billion, and you go to put gasoline in your car or buy a gum or something, then look at the lottery.
Uh,
Or they put it on TV announcements, so you get excited and you say, "Oh my God, 1 billion right now! Let's go buy it." And then you can, you know, just invest like $5 or $1 and then buy a ticket. But they say the more you buy, the more probability that you have of winning. But I will share you a true story because I remember right now. A long time ago, a couple of years ago, I think I was like a teenager. Um, I used to live in California and my mom always bought the lottery. She was like obsessed with the lottery. She said, I'm gonna win the lottery. I'm gonna win the lottery one day. And she was always making plans like, when I win the lottery, I will do this and I will do that. So I even thought she was gonna win it because she said it so much that I thought she was gonna win it. And one day, we got busy and we went to go buy the lottery, but she always had her numbers, and her numbers was my son's birthday, my daughter's birthday, my husband's birthday, the day I got married. Those were her numbers.
yeah.
So she had her numbers, her special numbers.
Yeah.
They gave her a lot of luck.
Her
And that
lucky
day,
numbers.
lucky numbers, yeah. And that day we went to the gas station and there was a lot of people. And I think it closes like at 7:30, by 7:30 you had to buy it. It was like 10 minutes. And she said, no, no, I won't. Or 15 minutes. She said, oh, and my dad told her, do you want me to take you to another place quickly? And you'll buy your tickets? And she's like, nah, Here, I never win anything. Here, I'll just buy it. And she bought a ticket where it's called the Quick Pick. The Quick Pick is like automatic. The machine just gives you it's
Any
any
number?
random number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she bought the Quick Pick, and then that night her numbers came out.
Yeah.
This is a true story. And she was like, ah. I've been waiting for this moment and I didn't win it because I didn't go buy the ticket somewhere else. Yeah.
And in that situation, we could use the third conditional.
Yeah. That's the third conditional. If I had bought a ticket in another place, I would have won the lottery. It's totally true. And so she never did win the lottery and she was sad for a while. But you always try to make the best of it. And you say, oh, there's a reason, Mom, why we didn't win the lottery, become millionaires, billionaires. I don't know. At that time, I think it was millions. It wasn't billions like right now, but million right now is like nothing. Before 20 years ago, million was like you thought you would never work again if you had $1 million. But now you have $1 million and you say, no, no, I need a billion. All
That's the
right.
reason because I don't go to the stop and go, either the gas station in the US.
Yeah, exactly. So here are the rules again, just so you have them of how you need to structure and how it looks. Okay. Like zero is the present present, first is the present, and then the future will won't. Second is the past simple and the would. And the third is the past perfect and would have. Okay. So that's basically like the difference that you need to know. And that's where you can get confused where to use them. It's not that hard. It's just understanding the difference and then practicing. So let's get to the fun part, Guillermo. Let's practice a little bit.
Okay,
Okay.
give me
All right.
5 seconds to get some coffee.
Okay. Good. All right. Very good.
Okay.
Okay. Um, don't tell me I put the first one. Okay. I already gave you a little tip, okay? A little hint. All right. Now you try it. Pretend you didn't see the answer. This is what I'll do too. Might help. Is it easy or is it hard? Because I could also copy this one and have a side by side little thing. That way it could be easier. Ready?
Yeah.
I helped you a little bit. All right. First one.
If we
Mhm.
don't work harder, we will not pass the exam.
Mhm. Mhm. And here's the answer. If we don't work harder, we will not or we won't pass the exam. You could use it like will not or won't. Both are correct, okay?
Okay.
And number two.
Number two, if the student
Mhm. Is the student?
Hadn't late for the exam, they will
Haven't been late for the exam. They, mhm. You said would?
they will have passed.
They would have to. Let's check it out. If the student hadn't been late for exam, they would have passed. Oh, you're perfect right now. All right, number 3.
If the weather
Mhm,
hadn't been
mhm,
so cold,
mhm,
we would
mhm,
have gone
mhm.
to the beach.
Yeah. If the weather hadn't been so cold, we would have gone to the beach. And then number 4.
If she had her laptop with her, she would mail me.
Email me. Okay. If she had her laptop with her, she would email me. Perfect. And then number 5.
If she don't go to the meeting,
Doesn't, because it's she. Mhm.
okay, yeah,
Oh,
this is the
you have the answer.
yes
I,
the third
okay.
person.
Yeah, if she doesn't go to the meeting, I won't go either. Okay, perfect. All right. There's a couple more topics, just a few, but I think I'm going to jump into this one because this one is so related to what we will be doing, okay? Um, I do like to look at a few like examples, especially because I'm thinking that what you might struggle the most is with the practice of the grammar, right?
Hmm.
And then I also like to tie it in with what it could be related to. So the topics we have been looking at right now, you could use to talk about events, about movies, to talk about life, to talk about things that have happened to you, to talk about your education, to talk about things, how you see things, right? You can use what I have just shown you. So, and this is going to be related to an exercise. So one of the last topics we're going to be looking at, you can use it to talk about your education and your experience at work. And I was looking for an interesting video, and I saw this one. This is considered to be one of the best, the greatest speeches ever, and by a very influential person, Steve Jobs. Um, so let's hear it, and then we'll kind of talk about it, and then we'll connect it to the next activity. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, loud and clear. All right.
The first story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months, but then stayed around as a drop-in for another 18 months or so before I really quit. So why'd I drop out? It started before I was born. My biological mother was a young, unwed graduate student, and she decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I should be adopted by college graduates, so everything was all set for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his wife. Except that when I popped out, they decided at the last minute that they really wanted a girl. So my parents, who were on a waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We've got an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." My biological mother found out later that my mother had never graduated from college and that my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign the final adoption papers. She only relented a few months later when my parents promised that I would go to college. This was the start in my life. And 17 years later, I did go to college. But I naively chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. And all of my working class parents' savings were being spent on my college tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value in it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. And here I was, spending all the money my parents had saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The minute I dropped out, I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me and begin dropping in on the ones that looked far more interesting. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposits to buy food with. And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. And much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. Reed College at that time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever, because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make all the difference. My second story is about love and loss. I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? Well, as Apple grew, we hired someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me. And for the first year or so, things went well. But then our visions of the future began to diverge, and eventually we had a falling out. When we did, our board of directors sided with him. And so at 30, I was out, and very publicly out. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyce and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the Valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I'd been rejected, but I was still in love. And so I decided to start over. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next, another company named Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. Pixar went on to create the world's first computer animated feature film, Toy Story, and is now the most successful animation studio in the world. In a remarkable turn of events, Apple bought Next, and I returned to Apple, and the technology we developed at Next is at the heart of Apple's current renaissance. And Lorene and I have a wonderful family together. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking, don't settle. My third story is about death.
Así que quieres aprender inglés. Aquí tienes 3 mitos que son completamente falsos. 1, debes hablar mucho. 2,
When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. And yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's quite true. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Stay hungry, stay foolish.
Mhm. So I was looking for interesting speeches related to education and related to life and to work, and I found that I thought it was very interesting. What did you think about it?
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's like how to say, it's true, all the things that Steve Jobs say. the three. It's like a how he say or name it, three stories, right?
Yeah, he said three stories.
All the three stories is very interesting, and
Yeah,
it's true, quite true.
I
Uh,
agree with you. They're very interesting.
because I don't know if you have have you read my homework. I talk about the death.
You talk about that.
Yeah, because I think too, the we
Mhm,
one thing that we all people
mhm.
have in common is like death. We already know that we all gonna death, and so that that should be the difference to living the day like if there was the last one.
Yeah, I think that's something that we sometimes forget, right? That our time here is temporary, and we might worry about things that are going to pass, and that if something happens to us, life continues, and we're stressing over them, right? We're losing out on other opportunities.
Yeah, it sounds like a grandpa or grandma advice, but it's true. I don't know, since I was 15 until today, it's so fast the time. It's like an you wake up one day and oh, I have already 35, 36, 38.
For me, it happened after 18. It was just boom, 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 boom. It was like fast, like I was driving a fast car. And then I think, oh, when I was 18, when I was 20, when I was 25, and then life just continued. It goes, when I was little, I thought it was so slow. When I was a little child, like that. Every day was, when am I going to stop going to school? I want to go on vacation, right? But then all of a sudden, it's just so fast.
Yeah, when we was little, it's like all the things is low, and we also want to. Oh, I want to grow to have another experience or something, or even when we talking about permissions to get out or something. But it's too slow in that age. But since I have 15, 18, 20 until today, is like, oh, it's very fast all time.
And then life is faster when you're busy, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
especially you with, your work. Do you have a family?
yeah, I'm married
Do you have
since
kids?
no yet.
Not yet. Oh, you
No.
use yet? Not yet. Oh no. Yeah. Imagine, okay, just being married, your work, and then with accounting career, and then with the English teaching career. Yeah, it's like super busy. Sometimes you don't find enough time in the day to do stuff, right? That's
Yeah,
how I feel a lot.
it's like
So,
every day, and there comes the 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and I still doing homework or seeing class.
now I know why you drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of coffee too, just to keep it going.
Yeah,
If 5 o'clock is like, and then drink coffee, and then, okay, let's continue,
yeah.
right? Right. So,
It feels
just
like a bringing life again.
So we have like a few topics to cover in Unit 12, but we can do that next week because we have less units to cover. We're okay. But this is the homework for what we have been seeing. The homework from yesterday was write a card, giving information about plans that you have, like traveling plans, and include at least 3 topics from Unit 7 to 9. And then I was going to post some exercises with the ing and the infinitive. I need to add the links and I need to add the description in the links, okay? I'll do
Okay.
that. But the homework for today, what we have been doing, I like how we practice it in class, but I think that something that is very special about our class is that we use it in practice. Like we try to put it in real life. And some things I don't have you do all the exercises. I want you to do them differently. So one of the homeworks is write about what has been your biggest challenges. Write about what has been, write about your biggest challenges, achievements, and motivations in life, okay? We just like heard Steve Jobs and you know how he talks about it, and he even gave it in 3 points, right? Example, you can include a personal experiences, work experiences, professional experience, whatever you want to talk about. Look, now I want to go read your homework and see why you were talking about death, Guillermo. But see, death is one thing that really had a big influence on you, right?
Yeah.
And then continue on how you want your future to look like. So minimum of 1 page, no, 1 page minimum. 1 page minimum, and then 1.5 spaces, which is like, like this one. The paragraph spaces, you know, you could do 1, you could do 1.5, you could do 2, it's 1.5 here. It's called espacio interlineado. And then regular margins, don't change them, and size font, which is letter size, this is letter size 12. Okay, any font that you want, that's 1. Another thing that I saw in your program, now there's a lot of activities in your program, and I think that's a little too much for a 4-week course. So I kind of cut them down and I picked the most important ones. And I like this one, especially for you, Guillermo, now that I know you, and I think it will be helpful for others too. Your CV, if you don't have it, you're gonna write it in English, okay? You have the Spanish version, so now we gotta make it in English. So you have both, and that's gonna be your homework. I put them 7 because I know we've had 3 the last week, and then we're gonna have 4 this week, and then we'll finish up with a couple more next week. Okay?
Okay.
So I'll post this in Moodle for everybody
Okay.
to look at. All right?
Okay, perfect.
Do you have any questions?
No, teacher, it's all
No?
right.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for visiting me. Hope to see you in the next class, okay?
Yeah, I hope to. I'll
I hope
try.
we can make it. Yes, I know you all try. I know it's hard because you're working, right? And
Yeah.
then I had to change my schedule a little bit too, for work. So, all right, Guillermo. Well, have a nice Friday, okay? Happy
Okay,
Friday.
teacher,
Yes,
le encargo las presentaciones.
yes. If not, text me, okay? Send
Okay.
me, put me a message, type of message in the WhatsApp. All right,
Okay.
Guillermo, if I forget. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.